Now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akugha as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome to the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, Mamode Akugha. In today's package, we bring you some latest developments in security, environment, and politics in the Niger Delta region. We begin with politics, which is very much in the air in Bayelsa State, where the governorship elections is scheduled to hold on November 16 this year. In preparation for the forthcoming elections, one-time chairman of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the state and current member representing Sagbama Ekirimo Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Chief Fred Agbedi, recently obtained the PDP governorship nomination and expression of interest form. The thrust of Chief Agbedi's governorship ambition in Bayelsa State is the first issue in today's package. Up next is an analysis of the people's rejection to the proposed establishment of grazing areas for pastoralists in the Niger Delta. After that is the position of youths in the security and development crisis rocking Ogoniland, where the federal government plans to recommence oil production over 2 decades after crude oil extraction was put on hold in the area. And finally, in today's package is an account of the stewardship of the hydrocarbon pollution remediation project, HYPREP, in its mandate to clean up polluted sites in Ogoniland and restore livelihood in the impacted communities. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. We'll be right back after this time out. Don't go away.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Welcome back. And if you're just joining us, it's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. As the September 3rd Bayelsa Governorship primaries of the PDP draws nearer, more and more political heavyweights in the state are picking up the expression of interest and nomination forms to contest the elections. Among those that have already picked up their nomination forms is grassroots politician and 3-time member of the House of Representatives, Chief Fred Agbedi. According to political observers in Bayelsa State, Chief Agbedi's entrance into the race will completely upturn the dynamics of the governorship primaries in the state, as they say he is most definitely aspirant to beat, as his support base in the state is wide and all-encompassing.
Honorable Frederick Yetemone Agbedi is the former chairman of the PDP in Bayelsa State. He describes himself as the best aspirant to win the Bayelsa Governorship Election for the PDP. To ensure that his ambition of governing Bayelsa State comes to fruition, Chief Agbedi was recently at the PDP Secretariat where he purchased the expression of interest and nomination forms.
So talking to you is the best aspirant and a winnable candidate from Bayelsa has come to pick up my intention and nomination form. I want to assure you that I'm a man of peace, I'm a man of unity, I'm a man who loves my people. I will not do anything that is going to create rancor.
Honorable Agbedi, a 3-time lawmaker, represents Sagbama Ekirimo Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives. He was also a 2-time Director General of the Governor Dickson Serake Campaign Organization and says he is better suited to continue the good works of Governor Dickson in the areas of infrastructure development, entrepreneurial promotion, and development of education.
I will deliberately, as a matter of policy, empower indigenes of the state, grow them in entrepreneurship, grow them in business, empower them financially, render them projects, and ensure that these projects are funded so that at the end of the day, they will be able to grow in business, come out from Bayelsa, go to national level, go to international level, and compete with other investors, with other businessmen.
A former chairman of the House of Rep Committee on Gas Resources, Honorable Fred Agbedi, has promised to build modular refineries and industrialize Bayelsa State to create job opportunities for the teeming youths of the state if elected as governor. A fighter for the welfare of his people, Honorable Fred Agbedi has severally taken the multinational oil companies to task over their operations, which oftentimes affects the livelihood of his people due to oil pollution.
It's a devastation on the people and on the environment. And we expect that Shell and the federal government as joint partners in this business to quicken action. I expect that the medical team should have been on ground long before now, dealing with the issues of expected health hazard, because human lives are involved, environment is involved, and people need to have their source of living restored back to them.
An activist for the Niger Delta affairs, the Agoro-born politician enjoys massive grassroots support in Bayelsa State and indeed beyond Bayelsa State.
We believe in the restoration that is going on, and we believe in transformation. Fred Agbedi is the right person to go. If only we want to do the right thing. He's humble enough to carry everybody along in Bayelsa State.
Honorable Fred Agbedi is a household name, political household name. He is well accepted. He's a grounded politician. Grounded. He's detribalized. He's focused. He's consistent. He has been so consistent with PDP.
A grassroots politician, a man of the people, a mobilizer, a bridge builder. I think he's the apt person for the job of Governor of Bayelsa State.
I'm very, very happy for him, and I know with God on his side, and with the kind of tumultuous support he's having today, if he gets there, Bayelsans will be very happy. You know, Nigeria will be happy that you've got somebody, a thoroughbred.
Loved by the generality of Bayelsans, Honorable Agbedi has at different times been honored by different communities in Bayelsa State, with the Kabaway Kingdom recently conferring on him the prestigious title of Ibifinowe of Kabaway Kingdom.
Any accolade that you receive from your people, any honor that you receive from your people is a challenge, is an urge for you to render more service to the people. And I'm so very much encouraged by this honor bestowed on me today, and it will spur me to do more, to render more selfless service to my people, to the people of Kabaway clan, to the people of my federal constituency, and to the entire Zone Nation in general.
After the conferment, the Ibifinowe of Kabaway Kingdom later moved to Asamabiri in Sagbama Council area, where he was accorded a rousing reception by his people. The primaries of the governorship election will hold on the 3rd of September 2019.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Amongst several governorship hopefuls in Bayelsa State who have already purchased the nomination forms are current Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State, Jonah Boribioga, who says his experience in government garnered over the years as Deputy to Governor Siriaka Dixon makes him the most qualified. Current Secretary to the Bayelsa State Government, Kemela Okara, has also thrown his heart into the ring, promising to consolidate on the many achievements of Governor Siriaka Dixon. Talford Ongolo, Chief of Staff to Governor Siriaka Dixon, is also hopeful of becoming the next governor of Bayelsa State. While picking up his nomination form, he used the opportunity to discountenance the impression that the expression of interest of several persons in the Governor Dixon's kitchen cabinet was a sign of crack in the governor's ESCO. Newly elected Senator and former Deputy Chief of Staff to Governor Dixon, Doye Diri, is willing and ready to give up his seat in the Red Chamber in Abuja for his occupancy of Creek Haven in Yenagoa. Also, former Speaker of the Bayelsa State House of Assembly, Kombowe Benson, says he's the anointed candidate to guarantee victory for the PDP at the governorship election of 16 November 2019. Others in the governorship race include Dr. Franklin Osaisai, Kenebi Okoko, and Ruben Okoya. What has, however, caused the biggest stir in the PDP and the APC camp in Bayelsa State is the entry into the Bayelsa governorship race of the one they call the principal of politics in Bayelsa State, Chief Ndutimi Alaibe. The former MD of the Niger Delta Development Commission and presidential advisor on Niger Delta affairs says he's confident of his victory both in the PDP primary election and the November 16 governorship election. has promised to build on the legacies of Dixon administration and transform Bayelsa State into an industrialized state with huge economic gains.
He's one of Bayelsa's finest, a world-class economist, businessman, banker, politician, and administrator par excellence. Ndutimi Alaibe, former Executive Director, Finance and Administration, and later Managing Director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, former Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta Affairs, and Coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, Timi Alaibe, hero of the Niger Delta, Timi Alaibe, distinguished son of Bayelsa State. Timi, now is your time. Bayelsa needs you. Timi, we need you. This message is powered by Bayelsans for Good Governance.
Although the federal government has suspended the implementation of the RUGA program under its 10-year livestock transformation plan, the backlash trailing the government's grazing plan for herdsmen appear unabating in the Niger Delta. Speaking on behalf of Rivers people on the Ruga project, Governor Nyesom Wike had made known that his state will reject land grabbing in any guise, noting that it had no single parcel of land for lease to pastoralists.
Nobody can tell me what I should do. I represent the state, so I have a right to speak the mind of my people. So if, because I said I'm not going to participate in whatever they call, I don't know the name, I don't know that I'm not going to participate. You don't need to kill me. I can't participate because I have no land. The little one I have said I'm doing agriculture. So if I give it out, where's the agriculture I'm going to do? But if they say that they want water, then because we lay pipe from here and take our oil to other areas, isn't it? So they can also lay pipe in the Bonny Ocean and then take the water so that the cows can be drinking. At least we have tried to contribute water. But any other thing, I'm not a party. I'm not a party to it.
For the convener of the Midwest movement, Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki, Ruga was a subtle form of land alienation which will heighten tension in the Niger Delta.
The Riga settlement, or whatever they call it, which is to resettle nomadic Fulani herdsmen in states across the Federation, is at best a new colonial initiative of the federal government. What makes it even more daring is the fact that the federal government is not taking into consideration the peculiar nature of the places where you want to settle people who are not indigenous to those places. See, we are Nigerians and everybody has a right, however, wherever, to move or cohabit in any part of the country. That is okay. But land is a very sensitive issue across the world. You cannot just by fiat legislate that areas, swaths of land, be given to nomadic herdsmen of a particular tribe across the nation. It's a deliberate attempt to change the entire demography of the country. You are moving millions of people, spreading them across areas, taking lands that are native to people, and then you are giving it to persons who, those persons who own the place originally, have not willingly ceded those territories to. That is colonialism. That is taking our native lands by fiat. You see, the indigenous peoples of Edo and Delta, we are the ones who are most scared. One, our population is threatened. Two, our way of life, our culture will be threatened. Nigeria is a signatory to the United Nations Charter. We are a signatory to the Human Rights Charter. We cannot now, as a people, under a government that appears to be insensitive to the clamors, to the yearnings and aspirations, to the cries of marginalization of particular swaths of the country. And the only way is for the government, to the federal government, to immediately rescind that decision. If it's a government that listens to the people, if it's a government that listens to those who own the land, it reminds me of the song of Sonny Okosun, Papa's Land. We want to know who owns the land. The land under question belongs to the indigenous peoples.
Visit our YouTube channel at Max TV. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications on our uploads.
And now to security issues. Worried by incessant killings and constant bloodshed occasioned by activities of court gangs in Ogoniland, leaders of youth groups in the area have demanded an end to the insecurity. The youth leaders also want the federal government to have a rethink in its planned recommencement of oil production in Ogoniland, where they allege that many wrongs of the past are largely left unaddressed.
In response to mounting insecurity in Ogoniland, several youth groups operating in isolation have decided to close ranks and collectively resist all forms of violent crimes in their communities. Their grouse is with the spate of killings that has heightened in the wake of the last general elections in the month of February this year.
As we speak, there is high level of insecurity in Ogoni. Currently in Ogoni, the youth shooting guns are the ones the politicians and the elites love so much. But people like us, who are intellectuals, they don't want to deal with us.
We have lost more than 200 persons in Ogoni from the 23rd of February till last month. They beheaded more than 50 persons. So you cannot see a situation whereby you beheaded somebody, cut his private part, then you say we have settled peace. Then the person's family will allow you to walk free on the street. So since we don't want this to repeat after this time, government should be involved.
The fallout of insecurity has been widespread poverty and underdevelopment in Ogoniland, an ugly trend that the Rivers State government is obliged to tackle as a matter of urgency.
We are pleading with the governor of the state to use his political will. If possible, declare some of those groups causing trouble wanted, or name their name, or maybe come up with a position, because it is only the state government that can stop this mess in Ogoni.
Currently, because of the low economic activity in Ogoni, I think the poverty margin is about 0.05%. It's so low to the extent that some people live on 500 naira in a month.
The federal government's planned resumption of oil production in Ogoniland without proper consultation with the people is another source of concern for the Ogoni youths seeking an end to the current crisis ravaging their communities.
All strata of Ogoni, nobody has ever risen against oil exploration. However, you cannot just use executive fiat to enter into the land to tap oil. It doesn't work that way. We are in 21st century. Oil exploration commenced in Ogoni in 1958. Then we made some mistakes because we never sat down in a round table to discuss community sharing benefits. We never did that. We don't want to make that mistake.
The Ogoni oil wells were shot at the height of the people's non-violent struggle against perceived marginalization, which led to the sack of communities and loss of several lives over 20 years ago.
Inside the Niger Delta.
The Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, is seeking the support of Ogoni communities in its mandate to restore the health of their ecologically devastated land and provide sustainable alternative livelihoods to the people. Coordinator of HYPREP, Dr. Marvin Dekil, while calling on the communities to buy into the project, reeled out its achievements at a recent workshop organized by the people's elected representatives in Port Harcourt, the River State capital.
The recent workshop organized for political representatives of the Ogoni people was to highlight the challenges, achievements and goals set by HYPREP to meet its statutory mandate of remediating polluted sites in Ogoniland and restore livelihoods in impacted communities. The establishment of HYPREP in 2016 under the Federal Ministry of Environment was part of the governance process for the implementation of the recommendations of the United Nations Environment Programme UNEP. After it was commissioned in 2006 to carry out an environment audit on Ogoniland, UNEP in August 2011 submitted its findings to the federal government. The report highlighted severe negative environmental impacts and urged the federal government to commence an immediate comprehensive cleanup to restore the productive capacity of the environment. Despite the urgent need to commence the Ogoni cleanup exercise as recommended in the UNEP report, there was no serious attempt to kickstart the process until the government of President Muhammadu Buhari came to the rescue of the Ogoni people in line with his electoral campaign to offer them a new lease of life. After inaugurating the Governing Council of HYPREP and Board of Trustees of the Ogoni Trust Fund, the Buhari government officially flagged off the Ogoni cleanup exercise in August 2016.
This cleanup is for the benefit of the people of Ogoniland and other surrounding communities in the Delta and to the glory of God.
After several hiccups encountered in the implementation of the UNEP report on the remediation of the despoiled environment, HYPREP had commenced the actual cleanup of Ogoniland in January this year with a handing over of 16 polluted sites to remediation firms. So far, the delay in the implementation of the exercise is considered painfully slow by some Ogonis, demanding a change of guard in the leadership of HYPREP.
The activities of HYPREP, as we explained, is a scientific process. So it's not a one-off. It's not something that you wake up and you just see it happen. No, we plan it. So what you are seeing us doing today are the things that we started planning a year plus ago in terms of the site characterization, in terms of the scoping, in terms of the delineation, and then developing the remediation action plan that we are now putting into use now at each of these sites. And these are different remediation plans for different sites. So we are proceeding to the next batch of sites to be remediated. We just did the bid opening and submission and opening. We are proceeding to do the evaluation of the companies that were pre-qualified for water.
At the recent workshop organized for the Ogoni political leaders, officials of HYPREP and other participants highlighted some of the challenges encountered so far in the implementation of the UNEP report on the cleanup of Ogoniland.
In the course of our proceedings, people have tended to misunderstand and think that HYPREP has come to take their property, to take their land, to destroy their economic growth, to interfere with their chieftaincy matters. This is not the case. Right as I'm standing now, we have at least 10 cases in court in the space of a couple of months of activity. And this is really, to my mind, not good enough, because what does it do? It's going to delay the process. Especially in land matters, the first thing you get is an injunction. And an injunction stops you from carrying out the work. And once the work is stopped from being carried out, then who is the loser? The ultimate beneficiaries. Our objective is clean up the mess and hand it back to the owner.
The security unit was constituted by the Office of National Security Advisor in September 2018. Since then, the unit kept a matrix of security incidents in Ogoniland. The matrix indicates that there have been 5 kidnap cases, 68 deaths arising from court clashes between rival court groups. Additionally, at least 5 security personnel were killed by alleged members of the Greenlander court groups, whose modus operandi is to kill vulnerable security personnel and cut away their weapons. Kana local government accounted for most of the court-related activities and closely followed by Kana local government area. During the course of the HYPREP activity in Ogoniland, some artisanal refining locations were sited in Gil community, a boundary community between Bidere in Gokana local government area and Kira community in Tai local government area. Also, at least 1 life was lost during the last general elections. Though most of the deaths recorded across Ogoniland were not related to HYPREP operations, however, a secured environment is necessary for contractors to operate.
We are open. We want to listen to constructive criticisms. What we are not going to give into is blackmail. When you come to us and say, give me contract, give me this favor, and we say no to you, and the next day you're on the radio saying you're a youth leader, oh, there's this HYPREP is a scam. We're not going to give into that, because we must maintain the standard we started. It is a United Nations monitored project. It is an IOC-sponsored project. It is a federal government project. And all of these are strong institutions with rules. We are not going to bend any rule for anyone. We will have to work according to the books.
To further demonstrate milestones it has achieved so far in the Ogoni cleanup project, HYPREP had taken the Ogoni political leaders on a tour of its environmental remediation sites.
Press what I've seen today. The project coordinator, our own Marvin, has done wonderfully well.
Today we have come as a group, the entire Ogoni elected representative, to visit the sites at Korokoro, Weke, and then Alode. We've seen Obolo. We've seen that work has started. And what we are expecting from HYPREP is that it must meet the best practices and international standards as required by UN.
At the end of the exercise, Dr. Marvin Dekil solicited the support of the Ogoni people for the successful implementation of the Ogoni cleanup project.
And part of what we did today was to go around some of the sites where active work is ongoing. The experience is such that we are going to get their input, their recommendations, and these are going to be forming part of our policies and operations going forward. So the best way we can ensure that the Ogoni people are happy is to ensure that this project is done to the best international standard.
The Ogoni cleanup project, according to the UNEP report, is the world's most wide-ranging environmental remediation exercise that will take between 25 and 30 years to achieve desired results.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Well, that's the size of our package into this edition of the program, Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. We'll be back same time next week on this station. You can, however, follow us on our social media handles showing on your screen right now. Until then, I'm yours sincerely, Mamode Akugha, appreciating you for staying tuned. It's bye for now.